This is Cam Jennings, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Thoughts on a Walk. Today, we're going to continue our Holes in Content series. I think this is the 5th video in the series, so be sure to go back and watch the other ones if you enjoy this one. So, let me give you some more context, and we're going to talk about more holes in content, or holes in advice, if you will. Tom Brady he's a retired NFL quarterback, probably the most famous NFL quarterback of all time, the most winning quarterback of all time in NFL for sure. He's won more Super Bowls and set more records than any other quarterback in the NFL. I mean, the guy is a walking, breathing legend. He was in his 40s a couple years ago, and he was talking about retiring. He was going to retire. He had just won the Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he was going to retire, spend the rest of his life with his family, and move on to do something else. Well, come training camp, the next season, Tampa Bay comes calling, knocking on his door. They talk him into coming back for another season. Now, we can say talking people into it all we want, but the truth is, people make their own decisions. I'm a man, I make my own decisions. Someone might talk me into something, but nobody talks me into doing something I don't already want to do anyway. So, he comes back for another season. It was to be his final NFL season. His wife leaves him during that season. People say that she left him because he broke a promise that they made about retiring from football. Because he went back and played one final season, she left him. So that's kind of like the narrative that gets spun, that this guy, he put football above his family, and that's why he got left by his wife. That's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it would be like, hey, football was a part of him. That had been his main focal point his entire life. That was his identity. That was a big part of his identity wrapped up in the game of football. And he just wasn't ready to be done yet. So, if you love somebody, I don't think you should give them an ultimatum between choosing between you and this thing that is such a big part of you. I don't think you should do that. That's not real love. That's not true love. So that's a different way to look at it, Tom Brady was the most winningest quarterback in NFL history. He sacrificed so much for the game of football. He loved it. It was part of his identity. Some might argue that his wife just didn't understand that. Some might argue. But, nobody really knows. Unless you were in that marriage, you'd have no way of knowing. Maybe she knew something about Tom Brady, about his health, that nobody else knew. Maybe he had suffered one too many concussions, and she was worried he was going to die on the football field, and she couldn't take it anymore. Who knows? Nobody really knows. But we got two different philosophies here. One, if you pick your dream over me, then I'm going to leave you. And the second philosophy, and the reason why is because you're too selfish. You pick that dream over me. Well, that dream is more important to you than I am. Well, you can keep it, but you're losing me, right? That's one philosophy. That's one way to look at things. Another philosophy is, wait a minute, I played football when you met me. This is part of who I am. It's part of my identity. You would leave me for doing what I love? That's a whole nother philosophy. One is, this person's trying to keep me from doing what I love, something I did when they met me. And the other philosophy is, hey, you must not love me if you pick that over me. Two completely different philosophies. Both of them are at odds with each other. So you can take that back to, business. And we talk about sacrificing for your business. Late nights, early mornings, putting in extra work, all the extra education that you might do to succeed in business. Is it worth it? Because no matter if people want to admit it or not, every hour that you spend on education of yourself is an hour you take away from your family. Every hour you spend creating products or writing emails or, building JV relationships or, writing this or writing that or building this or building that or filming this or filming that. Every time you do that, you're taking time away from your family. So you make sacrifices to do the things you want to do. Some would say, yeah, you're sacrificing your family for your own dreams. Good job. They must not be that important to you. Then some other people would say, hey, this person's doing what they love. They were that person when they built their family. Why are you trying to change them? That's who they are. Why would you do that? Two completely different philosophies, Which one is right? Which one is wrong? You got the content and the advice that says, hey, never give up on your dreams, do what you love to do. And then you got the philosophy that says, hey, sometimes things change. You need to move on. Most people would say that their family is more important than their goals, okay? That sounds right. People put family above everything except God. God, family, career. But I happen to know that in order to advance your career, you have to sometimes put those other things to the side. And what does it mean to put those things to the side anyway? Does it mean like completely ignoring them? Or does it mean just taking a little time away from them? Does it mean juggling everything? Does it mean trying to make time for your business and God and your family? But then, while you're doing that, running around like a madman, trying to make time for everybody, your wife doesn't see it. And she still feels like you just are always preoccupied with your business. Could be. Happens to a lot of business people. They try to juggle things, I don't think anyone who ever tried to juggle things between their business and their family ever felt like they were sacrificing their family and they love their business more than their family. I think most people who sacrifice time with their family for their business, they're people who are trying to build an empire for their family. They're trying to give their family a good life, a life they never had. That's how most people would see it from the entrepreneur perspective. Two completely different philosophies, Which one's right? Which one should you live by? Again, this is a lot like the last episode. This is a complicated question because it's two completely different philosophies, and both of them sound right. It sounds right that you should put your family above your business. But it also sounds right when you say great men have to make sacrifices to achieve great things. And much of what they sacrifice is their time. They both sound good. And when you think about it, ultimately, you're left, I think, with a simple answer that, both of those things are right and both of those things can be wrong. It depends on the person, and it depends on the circumstance. What if you're trying to achieve, and let's look at Thomas Edison for a second, just as an example. Thomas Edison trying to invent the light bulb. They say he failed 10,000 times before he finally got it right. Now look, some people would say it wasn't really just Thomas Edison. He had a whole warehouse full of people. He had a whole factory full of people trying to invent the light bulb. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't matter. He was running the show. Doesn't really matter. He was running the show. He had them all focused on a singular goal. We're going to invent this damn thing. The newspapers were laughing at him. Everyone was doubting him. They were making fun of him. But he persevered. And he invented the light bulb. Now what would happen if his wife would have said, Thomas, I'm tired of you spending all your time trying to invent this light bulb. It's an impossible dream. It's stupid. Everyone's laughing at us, and I feel like you're choosing, this, dream of yours over me and over our family. I'm taking the kids. We're leaving. So Thomas Edison says, wait a minute, hold on, honey. I don't want you to do that. You know what? Listen, here's what we're going to do. I feel in my heart I need to create this light bulb. I feel in my heart I'm close. But you and the kids are more important to me than this. I'm going to put it away. And we're going to live together happily ever after as a family. So his wife gives him an ultimatum and he never invents the light bulb. What would have happened? Well, if you're an intelligent person and you think it through, you probably would have thought that someone else would have invented the light bulb. Probably maybe a year later, maybe a few years later, there was already people working on it. Someone else would have done it. All right, that's fair enough. So, does that mean that someone else, his wife just didn't give him an ultimatum? Or was that someone else single and didn't have a wife? So what does that mean? Only single people without families get to have dreams? Only single people without families get to do great things? What does it mean? So, I can't give you an answer for this hole in philosophies. I can tell you how I live my life. Obviously, I live by the Thomas Edison philosophy. You have to make sacrifices if you want to achieve things. Now, in my life, my wife understands that. She understands I juggle my time a little bit between the things I have to do and the things I want to do. And when I say have to do, let me be clear. I have to dedicate time to my business if I want it to grow. I love my business, but I love my family more. The thing is, I can't let my business go. My business pays the bills. My business puts food on the table. My wife understands this. And I do love my business. I love my family more, but me sacrificing my time for my business doesn't mean that I don't love my family. It just means that there also has to be time for me, and there also has to be time for my goals. She has to support me in that, just like I support her in her goals and visions. Just like I support my kids with their goals and visions. I have a kid right now who wants to start a YouTube channel. I support them in their goals and visions. So that's how I feel. But again, you can make a case for each philosophy. If someone sacrifices their time away from their family to achieve something great with a business, I don't think that means that they love business more than family. I think that's ridiculous and narrow-minded. And I also think that is manipulative thinking. That's the kind of thinking that's designed to make someone stop doing what they want to do just to be with someone who wants them to be something else. But again, it's two separate philosophies. One of them I don't agree with. Does it mean it's wrong? I think it's wrong. But again, I don't think it's simple. I don't think it's cut and dry. And the fact of the matter is, you can spend too much time on your business and you can neglect your family. When you're a family man or a family woman, you have to balance that. You have to juggle that. You can't make sacrifices like a single man makes sacrifices. There has to be more balance. You have other people depending on you. You have other people who love you. And if you love them, there has to be balance, right? That's the way it is. So that's my thoughts on it. But anyways, this has been another episode of Thoughts on a Walk, Holes in Content series. I hope this has been helpful to you. If this content's resonated with you all, be sure to get over to epicconversions.com. Sign up for my free newsletter. I publish emails 3 to 6 times a week. I like to think I put out my best free content by email. So be sure to get over there and sign up for that if this content resonated with you. And I'll see you in the inbox. All right, peace now.